Sky's premier sports coverage is presented in association with Ford. International football, England versus Switzerland. Sky Sports with Ford Escort takes you to the heart of the action.
He was the people's choice and they've been patient, but now he's got to produce. Alan Shearer is doing it for Blackburn. Can he now do it for England? And waiting to stun them both is the rags to riches Englishman abroad.
Ford Escort, international football.
This was the last time that England scored a goal.
Lasseau! Graham Lasseau! Has lit up Wembley here!
Since then, they've played 232 minutes of football without another one. Terry Venables has promised a team that England can be proud of. If that's the case, then they've got to produce tonight. Paul Gascoigne is back, looking relaxed, very happy, and very colourful. Also playing tonight, of course, Teddy Sheringham there. England need a performance tonight, not just a win. And this is where England's Euro 96 dreams will flourish or die. We're live tonight from the home of English football. It's England against Switzerland. We'll be back in the summer. They've already qualified.
Shipley at the flag has stayed down. It's opening here for England. Fowler available, and it's his first goal in qualifying for the Under-21 European Championship. Chance on here for Chani! Oh, and a sudden strike of an equaliser for Austria. And a good break on here for Robbie Elliott. Shipley is in attack. Fowler is powering forward as well. This is Pollock. But arriving, and a chance here, the flag's up. Fowler's got the ball in the back of the net, but he's offside.
Well, it was a magnificent finish, wasn't it, from Robbie Fowler? Once again on his left foot, on the volley. Well, was it offside? We'll see for ourselves here. It's a great challenge from Nicky Butt. No way was he offside. That's a terrible decision from the linesman.
Pollock has joined Shipley and Fowler in the box. Fowler, lovely touch, great chance for Shipley. 2-1 to England. Bart Williams for England. Nice ball again, Robbie Elliott here. Looking for Shipley with a cross, and the goal falling, and a real chance here, and Pollock's effort heading off the line. A long ball from Unsworth that they were looking to pick out Fowler with. Shipley gets Butt through. Blocked initially, still Nicky Butt. Robbie Elliott. And the flag has stayed down, and a chance here for the substitute Beckham to make a name for himself. And he can't finish it off because of a fine save.
Yes, a fine.
Three in midfield. Hopefully McManaman being allowed to float round the way he does for Liverpool. Now Terry's seen him play against Newcastle just last week, and he was absolutely outstanding. And that's in a roaming.
No problem for him. It shouldn't be either. Plays for England again tonight, along with Jamie Redknapp at the heart of that England midfield. That's what these youngsters have come to see. Oh, thank you. That's for you, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Wembley Stadium tonight. We're live here on Sky Sports. England against Switzerland. The green flag international between England and Switzerland. Live here on Sky Sports. Can England win it? Well, The bookies think they can. 4-1 Switzerland to get a first win here on English soil. 15-8 the draw. First to score is interesting as well. Shearer at 5-1 without a goal in 8 internationals. And look at Ferdinand there, who's starting on the bench tonight. Second favourite to get the opening goal at 6-1. Sheringham 8-1. And further back, we're speculating on the penalty taker. Might be Stuart Pearce, might be Shearer. No David Platt, of course, who usually does that job. Euro 96 draws ever nearer with Sheringham with one apiece both way. And Alan Shearer leads the way with caps as well, 12 to date. So 11, Platt 10. Then the skipper tonight, Tony Adams, with Anderton and Sheringham on 9 each. So, what do the fans think? How has Terry Venables done so far?
More goals.
From Sky Sports. It's where Euro 96 final will be played. Of course, England second favourites to win the tournament, 92 Italy. Incidentally, Scotland are definitely going to Euro 96 as a result of Poland's goalless draw with Azerbaijan this afternoon. They're going so they can enjoy themselves against San Marino tonight. Romania, Bulgaria and Germany also qualifying as a result of elsewhere today. 6-1 outsiders. Republic of Ireland 60-61. Big game for them tonight, of course. We'll keep right up to date with that and Northern Ireland's match. 1-1 Wales earlier this afternoon in Albania. Phil Thompson and Model are with us tonight. Have you sorted it out? Or are you still going?
What are we talking about again?
I was just wondering, Glenn, you see, when I was a lot younger, England were playing, you were full of excitement and anticipation, and I don't know if maybe it's the passage of time, but you didn't feel disappointed.
But there's 3 writers for one paper, and if 2 of them give a good report, one of them will give something else. And I think Terry's above all that. He's had enough problems, you know, domestic things, that he's overridden, overcome them. And I don't think that's really going to worry Terry too much about what they're saying on the football side. He knows one fact: he's not going to get the sack or anything like that before the European Championships, and he's going to go in there, and I'm sure he'll do a good job.
I know you said a moment or so ago, I'll be happy if we go into Euro 96 winning from now.
Yeah.
So what sort of performance tonight?
I've already put my neck on the chopping block. I've already said I really do believe, perhaps with Sheringham coming back, perhaps the balance right. I don't know. I just feel we've got players in there. If McManaman's allowed to float, we see Gascoigne. You know, let's face it, there's enough players out there at the moment that are excited. If they can get anywhere near their best, if they can all give a 7 out of 10, then we'll go and beat these tonight.
Wasn't that the key with those great Liverpool teams, Phil, that 9 of the 11 were performing to capacity week in, week out, and Glenn's right. If the same proportion there tonight can produce...
If there's 2 of those players out there who are going to have a nightmare, they won't mind. If there's 9 others who are going to be on top of the form and we win handsomely, that's what it's all about. And they'll be going out there, hopefully in a positive frame of mind. Because the last few games, we've all been built up, we've all been hoping. We all sat here and I took 5-0 against Colombia. Yes, maybe that wasn't why I wasn't on the next game. But no, but they've got to go out there with great hope. We've got great hope. We're going to go out there, let's express ourselves and let's give the fans something to shout about the win.
Well, go on then, you went 5-0 Colombia. What do you think tonight?
Well, I'm going with 5-0 defeat. No, 2-0 win tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If these players are under pressure...
I agree with that, Phil. Me and you have agreed the first time tonight.
If these fellas are under pressure, Glenn, if what's being directed by the manager is filtering down, there doesn't appear to be too many signs of that. They look very happy and very confident, don't they?
They look very confident. They're very confident. They're very good. The problem is that, you know, Phil and myself, we both had the experience of walking out and playing for your country. The problem is at international level sometimes, Richard, is that you do actually walk out there as individuals too many times as an international footballer. The actual team spirit can actually come better when you're perhaps preparing and you're together for a championship. That's when a team functions. You work day in and day out for 4 weeks before you go into a tournament, and you get the habits and you start getting a little bit of team play there. After the game, like after international, they go away for 6 weeks. And then they come again for how many days is it, even if it's, you know, changed nowadays. The fact is, when you come to the game, it's a big thing playing for your country. There's no better thing than playing for your country as a footballer, and that goes for English players as well as the Scottish and the Welsh and the Irish, which they've said over the years means more to them. That's a load of rubbish. But the thing is, it's an international you want to do so well. Sometimes the team structure thing doesn't quite take off sometimes as it should do, because you're all wanting to do so well as individuals. But come the tournament time, when you've been a family for 4 or 5 weeks together, it's a different ballgame.
Those that are close to the setup suggest that that is beginning to happen. There aren't too many. Sometimes, again, there are 1 or 2 little pockets of resistance, but in the main, players are right behind the coach.
Oh, yeah, well, no doubt about that. Well, you know, I talk to Dennis when he comes back, and there's no doubt about the players being, and that's the most important thing. You know, above what we say up here and what the press is saying and the public, it's the players.
Terry's always been that way, hasn't he? Players, he's always been very close to his players. He's always backed them, and the players hopefully give him that back from the performances from now up until the championships, and then again in the championships.
Being presented to the teams, Tom Finney, CBE.
No, I didn't play with Tom, no.
No, but he was Bill Shankly's, the late great Bill Shankly's favourite, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Shanks was always talking about him, saying great individual, great team player.
Play on the left or the right or down the middle, didn't matter to him, did
It's
it?
nice the likes of, you know, Tom Finney being graced like this.
Yeah.
I think it's more, seeing the likes of, I think, Steve Coppell, Jim Hurst, have the great honour, and I think it's wonderful. Players who've done so much for the game, for the country. I think it's marvellous.
As well, he's such a nice man, he'll thoroughly enjoy it.
He looks so fit as well, doesn't he? He looks a picture of health there, look.
No disrespect to the sort of hierarchy in the FA and everything when they used to do it or whatever. I think for ex-England internationals, the likes of these, I think it is absolutely wonderful.
And I think the players respond
identify
to
with
that
them.
and identify, you know, with ex-players.
He's probably given McManaman a few tips there, as Tom. Which way to take them on tonight.
Yeah, he's too generous. I wasn't in their class, he'd say. Right, we'll pause as usual. The national anthems before we get going here tonight at Wembley. England against Switzerland, live on Sky Sports. We're set. England expects our match commentators at Wembley tonight, Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler.
With European opposition at Wembley tonight for the first time for 13 months and Euro 96 qualifiers as well, there's a real sense of purposeful rehearsal. And for once, only 2 England changes to tell you about. From the team which drew in Oslo, Dennis Wise is dropped, Nick Barmby is injured. Paul Gascoigne and Jamie Redknapp renew a midfield partnership which had some promising moments against Colombia, and Gascoigne's recent replacement, Rob Lee, stays in the side. Barmby's absence opens the door again for Teddy Sheringham, who perhaps significantly was Alan Shearer's ally in attack the last time Shearer scored for his country 14 months ago. Trevor.
Well, defensively, the Seaman, Adams, Pallister and Pearce, there's a wealth of experience. The one player looking to establish himself in the England team, winning his 5th cap tonight, is Gary Neville. And he faces a stern challenge against, on his day, a match winner in Alan Souter. The midfield three, Lee, Redknapp and Gascoigne, McManaman hopefully floating around, supporting Shearer and Sheringham.
Roy Hodgson has had to rush his preparations for tonight. Most of his squad were in league action at the weekend in Switzerland and in Germany. And he only decided on this lineup after a training session this morning. But it is based very much on the side which beat Hungary last month to ensure European Championship qualification. Mark Hottiger keeps his place, though he's not started a Premiership game for Newcastle all season. For the captain, Alain Geiger, it's international number 110, a career that started here at Wembley on Switzerland's last visit 15 years ago. 8 of the 11 were regulars in Switzerland's World Cup adventure in America.
Well, most Roy Hodgson's teams play a 4-4-2 formation. This is no different. The most recognised player there will be Hottiger. I mentioned that McManaman is hoping to float around tonight, and England have to be careful because I'm sure that Hottiger, who likes to push forward, would exploit the area vacated by McManaman if he leaves it too often. Up front, Canup and Turki Yilmaz, two very experienced players who will give Adams and Pallister a severe test. Between them, they've already scored 43 goals for their country.
The status of the evening enhanced by the presence of Sandor Pool from Hungary, who refereed the last World Cup final. Well, talk to the England players, and they are very encouraged about the groundwork that has been done since Terry Venables took over. They also recognise that a win tonight would be very timely to show the public that the team really is along the right lines. It won't be easy. Switzerland, although they have a side of similar average age to England here, in terms of caps, they're twice as experienced, and they've been together as a unit a long time. Roy Hodgson doesn't have so many players to pick from, and his great strengths are as an organiser. For so long, a footballing prophet without honour in his own land. But Roy Hodgson returning to Wembley, rightly recognised now for his considerable coaching achievements on the continent. Special night for him. But an important night for Terry Venables, and indeed for Teddy Sheringham. Here's Geiger, the captain. Amazing. An international career of 15 years. Tremendous achievement. Got a young fellow centre-back in Ancho on the ball here. Taken over from the World Cup regular Dominique Herr. David Seaman with 2 clean sheets in internationals this season. England hoping strongly, shall we say, to break out of this sequence of goalless draws, and we would all echo that sentiment. The pitch is on the damp side. There was a lot of rain here last night, and the sun has fallen again today. Tony Adams continuing as captain, with David Platt not fit to be selected to start or substitute. Shortage of match practice, the problem, and the same for Graham Rousseau. But Les Ferdinand is amongst the available substitutes tonight.
Martin, just something I've noticed there, I don't know whether it's a tactical ploy, but as David Seaman dribbled that ball out and was about to kick it upfield, Paul Gascoigne must have sprinted all of 30 yards. He actually put himself alongside Shearer and Sheringham, so England had 3 players up front.
Well, he's always in the news. He's not always available for England, but Gaza is on view tonight. Played in Terry Venables' first international, and his only other start before tonight was in the last Wembley game against Colombia. Pearce. Ancho calmly bringing it down.
I feel it's important that Gascoigne does play as far forward as possible. 1 or 2 games this season for Rangers, he's tried to play in front of the back 4 or back 3 whenever they played Rangers. but I do feel that Gascoigne's such ability he's got that his best work has to be done near the front.
Well, that night in Norway last month did see England in a cautious mood. Terry Venables believed that not losing was a particularly important issue after what had happened to Graham Taylor's England in Oslo, and indeed how Blackburn had struggled in the Champions League in more recent times against Norwegian opposition. Well, that goal was achieved, but I think everyone believed that it was, as internationals go, very much on the boring side. Here's Knoop, challenged by a combination of Lee and Redknapp. Gary Neville, touched on by Shearer. This is Alan Suter, who's been out of the Switzerland side recently because he's been at Bayern Munich where he couldn't get in the team, but he's been sold to another Bundesliga club, Freiburg. He has been getting match practice. Mannemann already straying from the left-hand side. A very compact unit, Switzerland. And Geiger giving a problem to the goalkeeper, Pascolo, with a back pass as the ball bobbled up. And England have a throw that's taken quickly. Gascoigne on the move. Osho able to accelerate forward with the ball. In the World Cup finals, Switzerland did play a rather extravagant offside trap, which was responsible in the end for them going out in the knockout phase to Spain. Lee has been in such excellent form for Newcastle. Redknapp. Mannemann likely has been a starter for him at his club, Liverpool.
Yes, I was one that I was pleased that Robert Lee retained his players, because I thought he was one of the pluses in Norway. But I have to say that when I saw the formation, I thought for a minute he was going to play in a wide right midfield role, the sort of role he used to play at Charlton, but that's not so.
This is Gascoigne. And he typically aggressively shows his disappointment.
Well, that's the kind of area I want Gascoigne to receive balls, just in front of the front two, picks it up, it's a problem for the defender, doesn't know whether to come. Well, I think they'll be particularly disappointed with that effort. You know, he's capable of getting that on target, tries a little bender, curling it inside the far post, it's just wide.
Fournier, Fontaine, the left back, is well forward. Kielmaz, flag up for offside, and we've got some early news for you from Nick Collins. Nick.
Well, Martin, it would appear that Jamie Redknapp is going to be coming off. Apparently he's twisted a hamstring, and we think it's going to be Steve Stone. In fact, he's actually already stripped down, and it's going to be Steve Stone to come on because Jamie Redknapp has a hamstring injury.
Well, that's particularly unfortunate. When players damage muscles early, you just wonder about the warm-up. It's one of those wet nights when you might stretch. And Jamie Redknapp, who's made international progress this season, starting for the third time, but certainly not a night for him to remember. Bitterly disappointed. But Steve Stone, who came on and performed very capably as a substitute in Oslo, he was another of the pluses. Trevor, you mentioned Rob Lee, but certainly Steve Stone caught the eye as a substitute. Now, will this mean a switch in battle plan? But it looks as though Stone has taken up Lee's position and Lee's moved more centrally.
Yes, that makes sense. I just hope it doesn't restrict Paul Gascoigne from getting forward, because it's quite clear in the opening 10 minutes that that is the plan for Gascoigne, to get forward as often as possible.
Stone showing him in the centre. Shearer getting there. Gary Neville with a chance to think about a long throw, but he's dropped it down to Gascoigne. breaking it up well forward. England trying to set the tone here. Sforza. Souttar probably looking at past Gascoigne, trying to improvise a pass, but just a thought on Jamie Redknapp's injury. Those who suggested that David Platt might be a substitute tonight, well, he would have been called on very early if he'd been the midfield replacement man, which would have defeated the object of not including him in the starting lineup. So it was Steve Stone who was picked to be on the bench as the backup for midfield, and an early call. Headed forward by Lee, the flag is up, although McManaman wasn't offside.
Well, it's particularly bad news for Roy Evans, isn't it? Because if you come off in midweek with a hamstring problem, the chances of you being fit for a Saturday are remote. And of course, Liverpool got the big game coming up at the weekend.
The Merseyside derby.
I'm sure the first thing Roy will ask when Jemmy gets back is, did you get a good warm-up? But really, you know, hamstrings are terrible things. They can happen in the first minute, they can happen in the 80th minute. You just don't know when they can occur.
Sheringham stopped. Led wide by Lee. Here's Stuart Pearce. He's had greater involvement in this part of Terry Venable's reign than he did at the outset. Benefiting from Graham Lasso's injury problems again. Adams. Here's Neville. Sometimes not the biggest left back. Sheringham with a bright idea. It was just too long for Shearer. McManaman trying to make something of it, supported by Pearce. England have got three in the centre. Shearer coming out of the penalty area to collect. Gascoigne. Switzerland, for the moment, happy to contain. There's a chance of breaking here. Souttar on the ball. Trying to create a gap, really. There wasn't too much there for him to move forward into. England standing firm. Here's Stone.
Just a word of warning to England. I think that they've got to be very, very careful in the centre of midfield, because both players in there, Gascoigne and Lee, are attacking players. They like to get forward. And you just saw there a moment when Gascoigne lost possession, and immediately Switzerland broke. You know, two central players, midfield players, were completely out of the game.
Pearce. Shearer calling for an early cross. Really didn't have the ball under control quickly enough. There's just occasionally, Trevor, Kevin Keegan has used Rob Lee in that anchor midfield role. And have those responsibilities here tonight for his country.
I think Robert Lee's at his best when he's making them long surging runs into the box. The one thing he can do, Martin, is he can score a goal, as he's proved so often for Newcastle. A regular goal scorer for them. I think it's rightly important now that Paul Gascoigne, with all his experience, just perhaps sits a little bit in there, talks to Robert Lee and tells him exactly what's needed.
Well, there was Lee alongside the centre-backs, dealing with the free kick. Souttar. And Lee making the tackle. Switzerland have come off a very confident victory over Hungary, 3-0. Eventually, to be told, as UEFA worked it out, that did guarantee a qualification place. So Steve Stone, who was switched to play wide on the right in midfield by Frank Clark at Nottingham Forest, and what a wise move that's turned out to be. Frank Clark here, and assessing Stone at a surprisingly early stage of the match, he will feel. This has also got Stuart Pearce.
It's unusual, actually, that you've got a player like Stone who played midfield and he's ended up on a wide position, because I feel nowadays, you know, there's such a reluctance of players to play in that wide area. You've got people like Darren Anderton who wants to play in the centre. I mean, Robert Lee's a prime example. Played it wide at Charlton, but now in the centre. A lot of players, you know, don't want to play in those wide areas.
McManaman. Pearce got underneath that, but Shearer hoping the goalkeeper might give him a present. And of course you played wide right for England from time to time. Did you enjoy it?
I preferred it up front alongside the centre forward, but played there for England and also for Nottingham Forest, and it led to one or two arguments between Brian Clough and myself, because he put me up front and Peter Taylor always preferred me wide on the right. He liked the idea of John Robertson on one flank and me on the other flank.
Sheringham. Here's Geiger. As you rightly pointed out, Trevor, there's proven goal power up front for Switzerland in Turk Yilmaz and Adrien Knoop. Orel, who's the equivalent, if you like, of Steve Stone in the Switzerland ranks, operating close to the touchline. Turk Yilmaz is an interesting character because he's got two footballing names. He plays in Turkey, where he's known as Kubilay, and that's a name that Manchester United fans will remember. He scored twice at Old Trafford in that 3-3 draw in a European match a couple of years ago. The Swiss calling by his surname, and that's how we'll identify him tonight. Kubilay Turk Yilmaz.
I also remember him from his days in Italy. I think he played for Bologna.
He did, yeah. Stone. Geiger, England not getting very far at the moment. Turk Yilmaz. Hediger, who looks as though he might be leaving Newcastle, is asked for transfer. Lack of opportunity, of course, since Warren Barton was signed. Sforza. Bayern Munich. Cut out by Pallister. Gascoigne. Oh. And here's Turk Yilmaz bursting through on Gascoigne's mistake. And it's led to a wonderful save from Seaman when Knoop was facing the goal, the ball at his feet, and Switzerland must have been sure they were going to take the lead.
Well, it was an easy chance, wasn't it? You see Pallister here attempting to clear, plays it straight to Knoop. And really he's got to slide it down the side of Seaman, hits it straight at him and allows David Seaman to make a good save. Here you see the overhead kick from Pallister straight to Knoop. Really should have given Switzerland the lead.
Well, Pallister presented with that problem because Gascoigne gave the ball away, and England rather fortunate to survive that. Combination of missed opportunity and excellent work from the goalkeeper. Lee, Sheringham, just trying to tee it up for Stone, who'd moved infield. McManaman. Here's Neville. Stone to the right. Shearer. Well, it might well have been on target, but for the block.
This was unfortunate. There was a good cross from Stone. Shearer reacted before anybody else. I think it was Oncho, got the block in for Switzerland. That may have been headed for the back of the net.
Well, the arrival of Steve Stone may well provide Alan Shearer with that type of chance on a more regular basis. The original England selection had Lee not playing close to the touchline on the right-hand side, but the right of a tight three in midfield, so there was more onus on Gary Neville to get the crosses in. But the Stone further forward, and it was encouraging for Shearer, shall we say. Here's Neville, who did very well after a nervous start in Norway. He was up against an informed Mini Jakobsen, who rarely got past him. But it was a good night for defenders all round in that match.
Yes, just taking up your point there about Steve Stone playing wide. Puts a tremendous responsibility on the middle two, Lee and Gascoigne. I think what it does do is leaves England a little bit vulnerable in there, but it will certainly lead for a more open game.
Sforza. Here's Suter. for Turki Yilmaz. Well, it was certainly a sighted goal, steered through by Alan Suter.
Nice little ball, wasn't it, from Suter over the outside of his left foot into the pass of Turki Yilmaz. He shoots early, but well wide of Seaman's goal. Well, there may have to be a readjustment in the midfield because it's too at the moment. Switzerland are finding too much space in there. I think perhaps McManaman may have to come a little bit narrower. Certainly Stone will have to. He's far too wide at the moment.
Shearer. Stone on the chase. Quick throw from Pascalot. Suter finding that Gary Pallister was just a bit too tall. Sheringham. Shearer. Well, it's broken Sheringham as well. McManaman. Pearce. Well, Sheringham will get to this one, but McManaman won't be able to keep England alive in that Swiss penalty area.
I know this is a friendly, Martin, but it's more like a cup tie. It's end-to-end stuff. Both sides looking to try and score goals. There's only one thing on each team's mind at the moment, and that's trying to win the game.
Poor kick from Pascalot, but Geiger helped him out. Here's Gascoigne. Sheringham. Gascoigne was ahead of him. Sforza, the midfield marker, that covered Gascoigne's run. Poole, who distinguished himself in the World Cup in the United States and was given the ultimate accolade in refereeing circles, the final between Brazil and Italy. Suter. Turki Yilmaz. Well, it was blasted goal was by Knoop. And England were able to get bodies in the way. Switzerland have a corner. And they are finding more and more joy in midfield to be able to slide passes through to Yilmaz in particular.
It was a very important block there from Pallister. I think it slightly winded him, but it was vital because the shot from Knoop, I think, was going in the back of the net.
It's a corner for Switzerland. Gascoigne was the front man, given an easy task to clear. Poor effort from Sforza, who now leaves the throw to Conta. Suter. Lee. Picked the wrong option then, and the offside flag is up against Turki Yilmaz. The header from Lee went straight to Orel. Well, England striving, as you rightly say, Trevor, to give the crowd and the country the goal that everyone wants to see, but in doing so, there's more than a hint of the vulnerability the way Switzerland are playing it through midfield. We're halfway through the first half, and then handicapped. He just joined us by the early injury to Jamie Redknapp that necessitated the substitution and a change from the midfield battle plan.
Yes, they've been unfortunate to lose Redknapp at such an early stage in the game, but the game is in sharp contrast to the win over Norway, where I said before the game we were quite negative. I think we're happy to get the 0-0, but here we're sending so many players forward that my big worry is, Martin, that we're going to go a goal behind.
Mosley getting forward again, but the flag was up.
I think the players very, very aware of the fact that they have been scoring goals, and it's obviously played on their mind. But they've got to be sensible with the runs. You know, if Lee's going to make a run, Gascoigne's got to hold, and vice versa. They've got to take turns in going forward.
McManaman's in the middle here, and Stone has picked him out brilliantly.
That was a great ball from Stone.
Lee. McManaman. Stone. Asking a little too much of Shearer. Stone not giving it up, but the linesman indicating that the ball actually had passed behind.
Good opening, wasn't it? Great ball from Stone, and you see the incident here. Stone picks it up, just slots it through McManaman. It's a pity the shot isn't stronger. He just chokes his shot. He's off balance slightly. Good run from McManaman. Those are the sort of areas he's got to be looking to get into. I think McManaman's at his best when he starts wandering around, when he's restricted to one little run on the left-hand side. He can't really express himself fully.
Well, he's got so much to his game, Steve McManaman, but there's no doubt that in terms of finishing opportunities he could improve. I wonder whether even then he was trying to just slide it across for Sheringham, who was coming in as well. Whatever was in his mind, it didn't come off for England, but it was another encouraging attack. Shearer, Neville, lasting against contact, flies behind for a corner. England worked on their set pieces this morning, but Terry Venables whimsically was saying yesterday that he doesn't want to reveal too much of his hand for the other watching nations at this stage of the development. There'll be more invention at corners and free kicks nearer the time of the European Championship finals.
It's good to see they pushed Pallister and Adams forward for this corner.
Stone. Goalkeepers come. Back in by Lee. Stone's volley, another corner.
It was an intelligent ball from Lee. Played it to the back post. Unfortunately, 3 players went to the near post. You see the short corner. Little chip to the back post from Stone. Keeper can't get a good punch on it. And here you see the ball from Lee. Intelligent to the back post. But unfortunately, Adams, Shearer and Sheringham are all at the near post.
Taken by Gascoigne, who one would have thought Trevor really improvised with the ball into Stone the first time. And it very nearly came off. Gascoigne, that slaloming style of his that's been his trademark. Still Gascoigne. Pascoe had the final touch. Corner again. Well, the conundrum still hasn't had its answer, but is Gascoigne going to be the player after his injuries that he was before all the difficulties that he's had? That was more like the old Paul Gascoigne. Pascoe started to come, straight on his line. Pearce, Switzerland pushing out. Neville, forward Sheringham from Shearer's header. It's of course a massive night for the Republic of Ireland, playing in Portugal, but also the performance of Austria in Belfast is crucial as well, and Northern Ireland have taken the lead through a goal from Michael O'Neill. Turkey Yilmaz with a cross. Pearce on the cover. It's a good break from Gascoigne.
Very encouraging, wasn't it? That's the sort of area I like to see Gascoigne in. Once he gets around that penalty box and starts getting into the box, defenders are afraid to get near him. Also intelligent play from Sheringham, because he made himself available, came off his marker for the 1-2. It's a very, very good piece of play from Gascoigne.
And there's another good piece of play from him to find Sheringham with a swivel of the hips. McManaman, England on the move again. Lee, but pass wasn't quite timed to the moment he wanted. Here's Lee involved again from the throw. Suter setting off down the left. He's got lots of space, recognised by Fournier's pass. Suter again, he's a real craftsman. They played that blind. Ooh, and there's Gascoigne brandishing the arm in that manner that's got him into trouble recently. Not to injure an opponent, but to make sure that his body is ahead of his pursuer.
I think he's relying there on the referee to interpret in the right spirit, because I'm sure there are certain referees who will give a free kick against him for that.
And of course, with players behind him, he can't be exactly sure what part of their body he's going to connect with, and of course it's anywhere near the face, he's going to get in serious trouble. More good news for both Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. An Ian Dowie penalty in Belfast. It's 2-0 to Northern Ireland. Here's for the throw. Certainly a more invigorating Wembley match than we've seen from time to time in this rather stagnant spell of waiting for the real competition to come, the Cold War, if you like, where there's been so much scope for debate. But the real issue is that results are not as important as building and sifting and sorting, getting systems right, picking up different players. Neville rather skewed off the outside of his foot. He was trying to play it into Shearer, who'd actually got some room had he been found.
Yes, you're right. Shearer, unbelievably, got away from his marker. He must have been 10 yards off him. It was a very, very poor ball from Neville. Just needed to be stroked into Shearer.
Nope, Sforza. And up again. Orel. By Oncho. Lee challenging Sforza. Switzerland's best performance in the World Cup in the United States was that wonderful 4-1 win over Romania, played indoors at the Silver Dome. A lot of the match played in midfield, Trevor, but further forward it's England.
Yes, I've been impressed in the opening half an hour with England. I think they've looked very, very sharp, alive, and they're playing with a purpose. You know, it's quite obvious that they want to go out here today and put on a performance.
The downside of that, as we've been stressing, is that Switzerland have looked as though they've got the capacity to open England's defending. They have a free kick. Oettinger and Suter having a look at it. Suter takes it. Comfortable for Pearce to head away. Oncho. Taking as with the challenge. It's such a major night around Europe, and Scotland, not surprisingly, are in front against San Marino. The scorer, Ian Jess. Gascoigne. McManaman, all the while Pearce was waiting on the left. He was ignored by the two infield.
Yes, and
that's made it hit. Sorry, John.
And that's frustrating for a fullback, because if he goes forward, he's got to get the ball there.
Gascoigne. Well, Terry Venables has clearly pinned his colours to the Gascoigne mast, and it's a mistake by Geiger. Sheringham, Shearer. Pascal beats it out. Shearer with the header, and Geiger is particularly relieved. It was a terrible error. Sheringham seized on it.
Well, it was unselfish play from Sheringham, wasn't it? Just rode it across the box to Shearer. He has to hit it first time, hits it cleanly. But it's not going for Alan Shearer, is it? He can't do any better, but he hits it straight at the goalkeeper.
Well, Suter doesn't give David Seaman any work to do. But it's the type of chance that Alan Shearer puts away week in, week out for Blackburn Rovers. I doubt, knowing what a strong character is, he's worrying too much as long as he's got the coach's support about this barren run, but he would desperately love to score.
Well, I think in that situation there, he's 17 yards from goal. He realises the defender is very, very close to him. All you can ask is to hit it hard and low and make sure you hit the target. He's done that. Unfortunately, he's gone a little bit too central and the keeper makes the save. He's quick to react to the second one, gets the header in, but can't really get any power behind it.
And just before that, Gascoigne had burst through again. England just waiting while Gary Pallister comes forward, not Adams this time. Pearce will take the free kick. Pallister looking to make it his. And marked well by Knoop. Forwards aren't always very good at doing that, but Knoop did enough to put Pallister off.
It was a lovely delivery from Pearce, just played exactly in the area that Pallister wanted to attack it. Lovely delivery with his left foot. Well, you fancy Pallister to do better with that. It was just put exactly where he wanted it.
England leading the way with attempts on goal and attempts on target. And coming up to 35 minutes played, it's still 0-0. McManaman. Encouraging the crowd with his individualistic style. Anchot, couldn't have been sure where that was going to drop. It's helped out by Geiger. Orel. Here's Neville. Lee. That's a marvellous ball. McManaman. Well, Gascoigne had pulled right away to the left-hand side, and Lee saw him and found him with a sweep and a confidence that's typical of the way England have played so far.
Sweet ball, wasn't it? Must have been all of 40 yards, clipped over the top of his Newcastle colleague Hottiger, straight into the path of Gascoigne. He attacked Hottiger, nice little 1-2. The pass just overhit the far post.
Neville, live football for you next on Sky Sports. A double header on Sunday for you from Scotland and England. The Edinburgh Derby from the Bells Premier Division, north of the border. We'll follow that on from Loftus Road, Queen's Park Rangers against Coventry. Another chance to see Trevor Sinclair in good form. He's in the England squad, but sitting watching in the stand, he hasn't been named as a substitute. He's certainly developing fast and well worth the call-up that Terry Venables gave him. It just veered away from Sheringham as it left Neville's boot. It looked as though Sheringham might have a chance to head for goal. No contact was made.
Certainly good to see Neville coming forward and expressing himself. You think back to the game in Oslo, it wasn't until the last 15 minutes when he actually came forward. I felt that both full-backs, Pearce and Neville, were rather subdued. You could say negative in their approach to the game, but they've certainly joined in tonight.
In front of his club manager. Gascoigne. Good movement from England again. Sheringham, got Lee to his left. Sheringham perhaps making something for himself here. He's always had terrific confidence with the ball at his feet. He may not be the quickest, but his touch is excellent.
Once again, good play from England. Sheringham feigns to shoot with his right foot. Oncho sells him the dummy, gets it onto his left, but can't quite get the shot on target.
And no shortage of shots from England. Well, the game here against Colombia was praised in some quarters for England's contribution to it. Trevor, for my money, England are playing better. It's a better match, more perhaps relevant as well with European opposition in the game here in September.
Yes, I think the way that the Swiss are playing has a lot to do with it, Martin. I think that a lot of the English players here are more accustomed to playing against 4-4-2 systems in the Premiership. Although quite a few this year have changed to playing with three at the back, I still think that most of these players throughout their careers have played against 4-4-2. Certainly the front two of Shearer and Sheringham are much more comfortable playing against a zonal back four.
A nibble at Pottinger by McManaman. Free kick to Switzerland. It's very much a team effort by Switzerland under Roy Hodgson. French magazine has nominated 50 players in the voting for the European Footballer of the Year for 1995, but Ian Wright and Alan Shearer are in it, but not one Swiss player. That tells you where the strengths lie as the collective unit. Knopp! He scored! Well, Turk Yilmaz whipped it in from the left. Knopp went in. I don't know how much contact he got, but it's ended in David Seaman's net.
Just look at the run here that Knopp makes. Gets across the front of Adams, gets in front of him. Lovely header. Seaman no chance. It's a terrific ball in from Turk Yilmaz with his left foot, swinging in towards Knopp. Gets away from Adams. Definitely little touch from Knopp, but it's enough to get past Seaman.
5 minutes to go to half-time. Adrian Knopp's 26th goal for Switzerland has put England behind against the shape of the first half. And now England, who were desperately wanting to score when the game was level, now they have to score to avoid defeat. With the two men up top, the two we've been talking about with the prolific international scoring record, something that Terry Venables would love to have at his disposal. They've combined here for Roy Hodgson, and there's one English-born coach who's happy here tonight so far, and it isn't Terry Venables.
Well, that was always the danger, wasn't it? You know, some 15 minutes ago I said how well England were playing, but we looked very vulnerable in the centre of the midfield. The big fear was that they would score, and that's what's happened. I'm sure that Terry Venables is also very aware that the moment we try and open the game up, we try and play a more attacking game, we start then to look a little bit vulnerable in defensive areas.
England have a free kick. 3 minutes to go to half-time. Pearce will take it. Oh, well, that was Tony Adams.
And that was a good chance.
Linesman is flagging.
Well, Adams is stolen around the back post from the free kick from Pearce, and he's played it back across from where the ball has come from, but I think he should have gone for goal. Here you see the ball coming in on the half volley. Well, it's a good chance. I mean, OK, he's a central defender, but central defender or not, that has to go down as a chance.
Quality was in the cross here. Just the glance there as Knoop got in front of Adams. Just parted his hair. And Adrian Knoop.
Well, we spoke before the game about the test that these two up front, Turki Yilmaz and Knoop, will give to Adams and Pallister. That's Knoop's 26th goal in some 43 games. That's a fantastic record.
McManaman found by Shearer. Hattiger got a foot in, corner to England. Gascoigne telling McManaman to leave it. Although they could possibly work it short. McManaman's moving away now. Pallister there, as a flick-on's required, but it's rolled to McManaman. The referee may have got in his way. Pearce. It's deflected in, a stroke of luck for England. England's first international goal of the season. An equaliser here to make the mood much happier. Pascalot left with no chance.
Well, once again, it's the short corner. Gascoigne into McManaman. Play to Pearce. He strikes with his left foot. I think it's off Kantar. He gets a little bit of good fortune, but it's only what England deserve. Here you see the shot coming in off number 3. Kantar gives the keeper no chance.
A break for England, 1-1. A goal that will go down to Stuart Pearce with the help of the other number 3. Ivan Kantar. And it's been a half worthy of goals, and each side has now got one. Stone, and it's not over yet. Suter. Fournier. Half-time at Wembley arrives on an English high. Stuart Pearce has brought England level after an invigorating first half. Seemed to be going Switzerland's way with Adrian Knoop's glancing header. But the lead was a short one. England have played with purpose. Gascoigne has caught the eye. Shearer's had a chance or two. And they got the goal their play deserved through Pearce. At half-time, it's England 1, Switzerland 1. We'll be back after the break.
Phil, an encouraging start again, hasn't he done?
Yeah, he's given us natural width on the right-hand side. I mean, you know, Redknapp, Jamie had to go, he'd be disappointed, he had to go off so early in the game, but the lad's come on and he's given us some natural width there. I think Steve McManaman, you know, not really natural left-sided player and staying in that hole there. He's got to perhaps be allowed to drift across. I'd like to see him just be able to drift across the line.
Just to
yeah, a little bit more. You know, obviously he's going to play left side to give us a bit of shape and balance, but with that licence to drift across, and maybe that'll be better for him. But no, all in all, it's been a good first half, and let's hope we have a similar second half.
Sheringham has done well, hasn't he? Because he's helped Shearer, he's gone up there. But it's those, it's his movement off the ball, let's say in front of Shearer, which causes problems for them, and it also helps the likes of Lee and Gascoigne getting that little ball into. And he's done exceptionally well.
They do still look very businesslike. Let's rejoin Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler.
That damaged hand belongs to Tony Adams. A knuckle problem. Terry Venables, who's been switching from tracksuits to lawsuits over the past few days. Major distractions, you would think, but he deals with it all with a wisecrack and a smile and a composure which would be beyond most of us, I must say. 1-1. Good first half behind us. And Switzerland have had some good news. Sweden 2, Turkey 2 from their European qualification group. It means they finished that group as the winners of it. Switzerland, another achievement for Roy Hodgson. qualification in style. More of the same, Trevor.
Yes, I was only thinking during the half-time interval that I can't remember enjoying a game as much as, well, for a long, long time, the first 45 minutes. I think that Switzerland have obviously contributed. It takes two to tango, so to say, and they certainly come here with a adventurous approach to the game, looking to win the game. But I've been very, very impressed with England, and it would have been an injustice if they'd gone in half-time behind.
It might have been an interesting half-time conversation between Turk Yilmaz and Knoop about the goal. Knoop having to just explain that he did get a glancing touch. Turk Yilmaz set off like a man who thought he'd scored. Sheringham. McManaman on the sprint. Across comes Geiger. Not the first time this rather lax in possession. He's been around long enough to know better, and he's cost Switzerland a free kick here. And a chance for England to seize the initiative early in the second half.
This is encouraging straight away at the start of the second half. We've got a position here where we can test the Swiss straight away at the start of the second half. Adams and Pallister have both gone forward.
Gascoigne could be a master at serving in the right sort of set piece at this situation. In it goes towards Pallister. It drops for Rob Lee, and the shot is a controlled one, which the goalkeeper this time is grateful that there wasn't a deflection.
Yes, he does his best he can. Robert Lee keeps it down, doesn't get any power. I think on this occasion, Pascalo is rather relieved it doesn't take a deflection. I think he was unfortunate on the goal from Pearce because I think he had it covered. I'm sure he would have saved it. But as I say, it's only what England deserved.
Neville. Stone. Neville's gone ahead of it. Stone's found him. Neville can't control it. Gives us an opportunity to bring in Nick Collins. Nick.
Well, Martin, I had a quick word with Stuart Pearce to ask him whether he was claiming that goal, and he fixed me with one of his steely glares and said, well, you've got the cameras.
I'm not brave enough to take it away from him. It was certainly a shot on target, and the Football Association in the past have been pretty lenient in dealing out goals that are deflected in. All I would say, if he'd struck it playing for Italy, it wouldn't have counted for him. It would have been given as an own goal. That's a country that's strict in the opposite direction. I'm sure, Trevor, you were denied a number of goals in your Italian career when the papers gave them as own goals. They would have been given in England.
Yes, you're right, they're rather strict, but I think on this occasion here from Stuart Pearce, there's no doubt he will claim that goal. It was a good corner, actually. We saw it in the first half on the opposite side when Gascoigne played it to Stone, who then clipped it to the back stick, and I think it shows a good alertness and a good awareness from Gascoigne to spot McManaman in that position, who just laid it off to Pearce.
Well, awareness and alertness has been conspicuous for England tonight. Gascoigne a bit annoyed with the Sheringham there, who turned his back as the ball was played forward quickly and thoughtfully. Just the exception of one minor brandish of the elbow, it's been very good to see Gascoigne's attitude tonight. He's certainly fired up in the right way. Hodiger's cross, and England almost embarrassed again, and this time it was Turk Yilmaz at the far post. Another ball in from the right-hand side, a deeper one this time.
Well, this is the first time in the game that Hodiger has got forward. He puts a lovely measured cross to the back post. Seaman starts to come, realises he can't get there. Turk Yilmaz gets up, tries to direct it down. I think perhaps a late challenge from Neville may perhaps have just put him off his stride.
Pallister. Geiger. Lee. Still trying to get behind Geiger. He did get behind Geiger. The ball didn't. Osho. 4 up for Switzerland. Plenty of other scores coming in. Another goal for Scotland. Ali McCoist. After first half efforts from Ian Jess and Scott Booth. Here at Wembley. Already chances in the second half. Hotiger.
Just the fact that Hotiger did get forward well there at the start of the second half, perhaps the talking point in the dressing room from Roy Hodgson. I think that one of Roy Hotiger's strengths is getting forward. We've seen so many times last year for Newcastle, but that didn't happen in the first half.
Gascoigne wanting the ball, backing his own ability as always, but it's all a bit tight then.
They'd actually started the second half better than what we have. Got a grip on the game immediately. You see Hotiger again looking to get forward as soon as possible now.
Sforza, Hotiger. Manaman gets the foot in, it's back with Sforza again. Quentin, now Fournier. Nice balance on the left-hand side. Roy Hodgson's team. Suter. England wanting to look left. It was a Manaman who had to hold the ball for a moment. Pearce sliding it to the feet of Shearer. Manaman trying to get through the centre. Switzerland looking to play offside then. Shearer aware of that. Neville's cross. Easy for Pascolo. Fournier. Under Roy Hodgson, Switzerland reached the World Cup finals for the first time since they were here in 1966. They won a match in the finals for the first time for 40 years. In Belfast, where Northern Ireland are hoping to do themselves a favour and the Republic of Ireland. It's Northern Ireland 3, Austria 1. Sforza, Quentin. Suter. Fournier had actually run in behind Gary Neville, but the pass didn't come. Switzerland still in possession, making England do a bit of chasing here. Pearce. Last time the countries met was in 1988. Friendly in Lausanne in Switzerland. England won 1-0 with a goal from Gary Lineker. Borel to Kielemans. The Galatasaray players made an error that he's going to be able to repair here. This is Canuck. Wasn't the most sophisticated run, plenty of power and pace. Hotiger. More and more an attacking force. Orwell did quite well for Switzerland. He blocked off Pearce for a crucial second, allowing Hotiger to chase on. Pearce not to be denied, but Switzerland throw. Suter straying from the left. Tackle from behind by Gascoigne.
I think that's born out of frustration because England had a little period when they can't get the ball. They've got to try and get to grips with the game in the midfield. Felt in the first half, Gascoigne and Lee totally dominated, but the second half hasn't started well for England.
Portugal leads it, Souttar takes. And a bit of pushing and shoving stops the Swiss in their tracks when the whistle goes. Ball came back across the face of the goal towards Turk Yilmaz.
It was a lovely flighted ball, wasn't it, from Alan Souttar to the back post. There you can see the foul, given a little push on Neville.
Foul by Fournier.
A little bit fortunate to get away with that.
We're in the phase of the game, Trevor, when I suppose Paul Gascoigne's suspect stamina is an issue. Did so well in the first half. He's given some tremendous performances this season, the Rangers, notably in the Champions League against Dortmund at Ibrox. He's also been off the pace in other games. Lee. Neville. Here's Stone. Sheringham's header! A great goal for England. They're in front. Teddy Sheringham strikes from Steve Stone's cross. England 2, Switzerland 1.
Magnificent header from Sheringham. Great cross from Stone. Sheringham with a header, fully 12 yards out. They don't come much better than that. Pascal dives, but he's got no chance. Well-worked move from England. Gascoigne started it, change of play to the right-hand side. Good delivery from Stone. And a wonderful header from Sheringham.
So the goals are starting to come. And it matters not to the team that Alan Shearer isn't amongst the scorers. As I said at the start, when Sheringham and Shearer have played together, England have scored in each game that they've started in tandem. This is the 4th time, and the total is now 8 goals spread around the two. McManaman. Down goes Shearer. Picked himself up, as England have done after conceding the first goal here at Wembley tonight. McManaman. For Pearce. Oh, it's a wicked ball. Goalkeeper manufactured a save and then was fortunate as the ball rolled free that his friends were around him.
What a
marvellous cross.
Yeah, the keeper looked totally perplexed, but he didn't know what he was doing, did he? Lovely little movement, nice back heel from McManaman, hard and low, hit with great power. It's an awful bit of keeping, he's lucky to get away with that.
Well, England have scored from a cross on the right, they very nearly added another with a cross from the left. The attack on a wide front at the moment. The nature of the game to England's liking, that was really the case from very early on. Is it just the case, Trevor, of the styles maybe of the two teams suiting each other? This moment certainly suited Terry Sheringham.
Well, I made the point in the first half, we could just see the goal again here. There is proof that you don't have to go past your full-back. Stone just gets a little bit of space, plays it in front of the full-back. Perfect cross, great header from Sheringham. I was making the point that I think it suits us to play against the team. We're playing 4-4-2, but I think another vitally important factor is that we've played with 2 men up front, and I think the 2 of them up there, Sheringham and Shearer, have really complemented one another. I think that's been such a plus for us tonight.
Sheringham. Of course, Terry Venables will tell you that Sheringham's job is not just to play up front, that he is a linking player, if you like, to use a modern-day expression, that he plays slightly off and behind Shearer. He's capable of doing that, but what he's a forward. He wants to score goals, and he scored a goal at the right time for his country here. His second for England, the other at Ellen Road in that 3-3 draw with Sweden. And the way this game's shaping up, it could yet finish 3-3 here at Wembley tonight against Switzerland.
Well, I think we all admire Nicky Barmby. I think he's had an outstanding season up to now with Middlesbrough. I think Peter Beardsley, when he's played for England and when he's played for Newcastle, is a really top-class player. But the question you have to ask, Martin, is if Steve Stone had crossed that ball for Beardsley there at Barmby, would they have scored that goal? I think the answer is no. The biggest difference between Sheringham and Barmby and Beardsley is that Barmby and Beardsley, they like to play just in front of the midfield, in behind the front, linking the play, but they've got so many attributes. I don't think that when they come off a game, they're really bitterly upset if they don't score a goal. But I think Sheringham is an out-and-out striker, and when he doesn't score, you'll be upset. That is the big difference.
And he's in the news here from elsewhere. The goals are also flying in. Barry Hunter has got a second for Northern Ireland, his second. It's 4-1. It's a goal for Costa in Lisbon. And if the Republic of Ireland, as now seems likely, finish second in their qualifying group, I just wonder whether they might be in that playoff at Anfield in December, which is the day after England next play here at Wembley against Portugal. Stone. Well, England were on the back foot a little at the start of the second half. There's that headed chance for Turk Yilmaz. There's a buzz around Wembley Stadium that's been absent from time to time in some of these friendly games, or so-called friendly games. Teddy Sheringham's second to put England in front for the first time tonight, after the first from Stuart Pearce has been responsible for that. Tony Adams has only ever captained England in drawn games before. 3 of those. There's been a lot of draws, of course, since Terry Venables took over, as he's tried to build a side that's initially hard to beat. The results certainly support that particular claim. But a win or two will not come amiss against polished European opposition. And the matches with each passing month will carry more and more meaning. Definite feeling, as I mentioned at the beginning, about European rehearsal tonight. And the games against Japan and Colombia, important in their way, but it's a European championship that England are preparing for. And a tussle with Conta and Stone initially. And Neville also coming in. And the outcome, I think, is a free kick for Switzerland.
Well, it's a typical little Stone tussle, isn't it? We've seen that so often with Nottingham Forest. Strong little character.
Can be the main man in the air again, perhaps, for Switzerland here. Come his way, it's the other number 9, Alan Shearer, who gets a pat on the back from Tony Adams for doing the defensive job done. Coltan with a throw. Stone tussling away again. Switzerland have a corner. second half. Lee.
Once again, though, is Alan Shearer back there, got his head to that corner. So important when a forward comes back and helps out the defence like that. Tremendous responsibility that he takes on, but certainly Shearer did an excellent job on 2 occasions.
Sforza. Well, Suter had actually lost the ball for a moment, but he kept his body to stop Lee getting in a legal challenge. So it's another free kick to the Swiss. Sforza in charge again.
It's the kind of position when you're not sure where to chip it or actually have a shot at goal.
Sforza, well, it was a chip shot at goal.
Yeah, I think he was
practice for David Seaman.
I think he was caught in 2 minds. He wasn't sure whether to chip it or have a shot.
Lee. Here's Pallister. Pearce. Support arriving for Shearer. McManaman, Lee. Sheringham going in again. The goalkeeper hangs on. Well, Alan Shearer setting things up again.
It was good support play from Robert Lee. Good ball in it was initially from Pearce, and now you see Lee just can't time his shot right, but actually when the ball was played forward to Shearer, he had 2 options. It was McManaman and also Lee ready to take the little knockdown.
McManaman, Sheringham. Shearer's got a bit of space on the far side, and Sheringham recognised that. Oh, McManaman! Switzerland in trouble, they've survived the scare. Lee, Neville, Stone, good running by Gascoigne, but not quite quick enough. Suter.
It was a lucky escape, wasn't it, for Switzerland? I was thinking first half how Pascal looked rather assured in the goal, but in the second half he looked rather suspect. I mean, as this ball comes over from Shearer here, he follows it. You think, well, get your hand on it, dive on it, do something. Look, he just lets it run, and McManaman could have scored with it.
Shearer. Stone from Shearer's pass. Sheringham, oh, they all missed it. Sheringham perhaps intentionally. Gascoigne was behind him. It could easily have been number 3 for Terry Venable's team.
Well, Stone has certainly stamped his authority on the game since he's come on. Lovely little 1-2 with Shearer. Ball along the ground. 2 miss it, 3 miss it. Another good chance.
Stefan Wolf is coming on as a substitute for Switzerland for Fournier. It's Wolf's first cap. Wolf plays for the Lucerne club, who were in England in the summer, playing against Tottenham Hotspur in the Intertoto Cup. It isn't a particularly strong domestic league in Switzerland. They do export a lot of players. What Leo Hodgson has been able to do is bring together all the different factions in a country where some speak German, some speak French, some Italian. The harmony is with England at the moment. The lead is with England. Suter. Alistair, whose place is being challenged meaningfully by Newcastle's Steve Howie. Lewis determined, if he can, to keep Graham Lasso at bay. Just wonder, Trevor, looking at this England team, who you would think of absolute certainties to start the European Championship. Maybe David Seaman.
Well, at the back end of last season, just prior to the Umbro Cup, I thought there were about 7 certainties. I thought Seaman has established himself in goal, and as I said, Adams, Pallister, Lasso, Ince, Platt, Anderton and Shearer. But really, some of the youngsters who have come in, people like Redknapp, McManaman, can't really call Robert Lee a youngster, but he's done exceptionally well. Stone's done well. I mean, those certainties now, well, they're not certainties, are they? Because there's certainly question marks against Paul Ince.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned Darren Anderton, who of course is still injured. All England fans would like to see him back available again. Certainly someone who's grasped the chance given to him by Terry Venables. Here's Shearer. Tries to chip the goalkeeper. Worthy try, but Pascalot was able to reach it.
Once again, good link-up play from Sheringham, good run from Shearer. He knows that if he shoots, it's going to get blocked. Tries a little chip. Doesn't quite put enough on it. But just going back, Martin, to what we're talking about, the certainties, I think that every time England play, there's so many outstanding performances now. I mean, tonight we've had like 7 or 8 outstanding performances that I think it's getting more and more confusing what is England's best team. But what I'm absolutely sure of is that by the time the championships come around, is that the squad will be far more stronger than it was 20 months ago.
The man who has to sort it all out when it comes to selection. I'll be wondering here whether England are going to win. After all the talk about the nation wanting it and needing it, even though this is essentially a preparatory match, there's been a good feeling of competition in it, and Switzerland have played a good part in that. A lovely ball by Gascoigne for Steve McManaman. England flooding to McManaman's right. Furthest right is Stone. And it's just knocked away at the last moment by Anchot from Shearer. A corner. McManaman rather reluctantly is leaving these corners to Gascoigne. He's got plenty of confidence in himself, Steve McManaman.
I think on this occasion, though, he'll look for either Pallister at the near post or perhaps Adams, who'll spin off to the back post.
Well, between the two, Neville, Switzerland stream out. There's no offside, but the goalkeeper will get that. Amazing match in Belfast. Northern Ireland 5, Austria 2. Pat Nevin on target for Scotland, 4-0 against San Marino. Scotland, for whom Craig Brown has done a marvellous job, and look forward to taking part in England next summer.
That really is an incredible scoreline coming in from Belfast when you consider that the Republic of Ireland lost it up to Austria.
Suter. Scoreline here is England 2, Switzerland 1. England trying to improve that with Gascoigne. Shearer. McManaman. For Stone. He's playing international football to the man of war, Steve Stone, who comes from Gateshead. Went to the same primary school as Paul Gascoigne, though he's some 4 years younger. And is playing with some of Gascoigne's self-belief here. He really have a free kick.
He really is an outstanding player, Steve Stone, and his contribution's been immense since he's come on. It's another one of them free kicks from the area where you're tempted to sort of chip it to the back post, but he just might have a shot from here.
And it's curled towards the goalkeeper, who was challenged by Sheringham. Back from Neville, not very well. Suter fouled by Neville. Free kick to Switzerland. Well, it was a crafty ball from Gascoigne.
Yes, it was. It was played into an area where you can see the keeper is so vulnerable. He just doesn't look comfortable at all. Whenever there's a challenge goes in, I mean, it wasn't a really forceful challenge from Teddy Sheringham, but the keeper was in all sorts of trouble.
England's next opponents at Wembley, Portugal, making sure of their spot in Euro 96. The Republic of Ireland, unless there's a complete collapse by Northern Ireland in Belfast, the Republic of Ireland will finish second in their group and go into that very complicated shake-up that could mean a playoff. And the signs are that Jack Charlton's reign will at least go on another month.
Yes, and we all hope a lot longer, because we like to see Jack managing the team in the European Championships. I think with their fantastic support, it'll be a big bonus to have them here in the European Championships.
Another English coach, of course. Whether Roy Hodgson will be in charge of Switzerland next summer is a matter now of some conjecture. There is a faction within the Swiss FA. Now the Inter-coach, of course, but he maybe cannot devote the right time to the job. Roy has taken a very diplomatic stance on it. It is possible that this could be his last match in charge of Switzerland. And it's not all over in Belfast, because Austria have scored again. 5-3 now. Switzerland thinking about making another change. They've only ever beaten England 3 times. Trevor, you played in one of those defeats, the last one, in Basel in 1981.
Thanks for reminding me, Martin. Over in Oslo, I think, when we got beat by Norway, it was probably the worst defeat I've ever suffered as an England player, but the second worst, I think, was against Switzerland.
Sheringham. Shearer. Alan Shearer for England. Stone will score. And Frank Clark is absolutely thrilled, as Stone is himself. All credit to Shearer, who might have had the goal to his name.
Well, it's typical Alan Shearer, isn't it? Works it onto his right foot, little jump over it from Stone. Awful keeping again from Pascalot, but Stone's in there, and he doesn't miss from that distance. Good play from Alan Shearer, good chest control. Not particularly good defending there from Oncho. Hits it with his right foot.
Was Stone offside?
Well,
Shearer's shot?
He was offside, but he deserves it, Martin. He's been super in the second half especially. I think England deserved it. It's been a great performance.
Well, there's no doubt that Steve Stone was active in there across the vision of the goalkeeper. But the goal stands, and in his second appearance for his country, Steve Stone gets his first international goal. He's not a prolific marksman for his club, but he's been everywhere since the early entrance with Jamie Redknapp injured. Quentin over by the touchline, but I think it's Suter who's going off. Suter is substituted. And on has come Marco Grassi, who's a striker, wearing number 14. Plays his football in France for Rennes.
I was actually recommended him last season by an old friend of mine at Nottingham Forest who played for Switzerland. I don't know if you remember Raimondo Ponti.
Shot from Canup, I do remember him.
I went across
coaching in Switzerland.
Yeah, I went across to watch Grassi. It was a convenient evening actually because he was playing full lane against Kahn, and the Swedish centre forward was Kenneth Anderson was playing, so I took in both players, but I didn't decide to buy him, or either of them.
And the wave is going around Wembley now. It's as if England have emerged from the dark ages, certainly from a darkish performance in Oslo. With an optimistic mood amongst the home support. Stone is flagged offside this time. Another change, Ramon Vega, who's a defender, going to be brought on, and contact this time does go off. Fourth official, Lee Cable, holds up the ball. Well, he wondered in the brief time that England were 1-0 down whether it would turn out right on the night. But listen to the noise at Wembley. It's not a big crowd, it's not been a match that's attracted perhaps too much of the right publicity. You have to be a very persistent driver to get through the London traffic to reach Wembley on a wet Wednesday evening, but those who have come will feel their journey has been well worthwhile. Borrell, touched back to Seaman by Neville, goalkeeper's kick. Goes to Hottiger, who switched to the left-hand side. Grassi, Lee gets a tackle in, to Moore. The same reaction from the crowd, and in Steve Stone, well, the England supporters from other parts of the country, from Nottingham, they've taken a new hero to their hearts. The Nottingham fans know all about it.
Well, it's certainly one of the best nights that Terry Benedict has had an England manager.
And it might get better still. Alan Shearer! Well, it will happen sometime, and hopefully for Shearer and for England it will happen in the European Championships.
Well, he looked absolutely certain to score there, didn't he? He got in between the two defenders, Geiger and Onchil. You thought he was an absolute cert to score, but it's just not running for him.
Sforza. Shearer standing his ground as Wolf tries to rough him up a little bit. Lee's ball is a probing one to McManaman. No. Here's Onshaw. Vega. That was a clever flick.
Just one or two signs that Paul Gascoigne showing a little bit of tiredness. Just wonder if perhaps the last 5 minutes Peter Beardsley might just get a little run out.
He made a big effort to get forward down the left-hand side as England looked to the right. Hortiger. Grassi. Looking to tee it up for someone coming from behind. There was no one there. Sheringham. And it's Tony Adams reflecting the England move with a buccaneering break of his own.
Well, I think there's so many games now, the England supporters have been totally frustrated. They're going to go away very, very happy, but I think what would just be the icing on the cake for them would be a final goal from Alan Shearer. I think we're all willing him to score. He's done so well tonight.
Pearce. We've got live football for you on Sky Sports 2 this Sunday. Sky Sports 2, starting with the Edinburgh Derby, Hearts against Hibs in the Bells Premier Division in Scotland, and Queen's Park Rangers against Coventry in the FA Carling Premiership. Both matches live, and we start at 12:30. Turkey Mats. David Seaman needed Pallister to intervene. Peter Beardsley, who's been out of the England scene for a little while. He last played against Sweden in the Umbro Cup. Wondering whether he's going to get a touch or two of the ball and another cap tonight. Come back to the bench.
I think once the corner is taken, Martin, he'll be on, but managers don't like to take or make substitutions when there's a corner about to be taken.
The corner will be taken by Turki Yilmaz. All out. Well, it was truly struck. And England were defending what they thought would be a ball played into the penalty area.
Well, that's a replica of the England corner in the first half, which they did on 2 occasions, and they almost scored themselves there. Switzerland copying England.
Well, I don't envy you your choice as man of the match tonight, Trevor. There are 1 or 2 England candidates. If indeed it is an Englishman that you pick. I'll get onto that in a moment.
You're perfectly right, because there's more than 1 or 2. You could make a case for every player in the team. It's been that good a performance. Every individual has contributed, but it may surprise 1 or 2 with my choice, but I'm going to go for a player that came on very, very early in the game as a substitute, and that's Steve Stone.
Steve Stone has had a marvellous night. Stone, who made the second goal and scored the third. Shearer. England have a corner.
Yes, and what's interesting is that there's just 1 minute on the clock, but Adams and Pallister are still coming forward.
Your choice has just been announced to the crowd here, and the crowd agree with you, Trevor. Got a great reaction.
They'll cheer anything at the moment. They're so pleased with this performance.
Pearce, whose equaliser was so important. Offside. With the 90 minutes almost up. Well, there's been quite a lot of tension around the England scene, shall we say, since the match here in Norway, but Terry Venables has been very adept at keeping it from the players. And we've said all along, the players, whatever you might read in various newspapers, the players are totally behind Terry Venables as head coach. And really, that is a very crucial aspect of dealing with any football team, particularly one at this level. And they've played as the coach would want.
Yes, Terry's been quick to stress that in the press, but the proof is in the pudding tonight. It's a very, very spirited performance by England.
It's been closer to the real thing tonight. Certainly in time, just over 6 months to go, and in the texture of the match. And England have a victory, a fine one, to boost Terry Venables' belief that the foundations are in place for a successful campaign next summer. Steve Stone got an early chance with Jamie Redknapp having to go off, and he took it eagerly. After Stuart Pearce had equalised, a Switzerland opening goal touched in the merest of touches from Adrian Canuck, 1-1 at half-time, and then from Stone's cross, Teddy Sheringham giving England the lead that they deserved, and Stone, with a suspicion of offside, it must be said, making it 3-1. Possible opponents in Euro 96 have been beaten here, and Switzerland's record tells you that they don't crack easily. The first England goals of the season, only the second win of the year, but it will certainly ease some of the impatience that's surrounded the England scene. It's still, as Roy Hodgson knows just as well as Terry Venables, all about being ready in June and trying to improve all the time to peak at that point. But plenty of pluses for England tonight, Trevor.
Yes, I think, as I said at the end of the game, every player was worthy of a possible man of the match. But the most important factor for me was getting somebody up there with Shearer. I think that so many times recently defences have got we've let them off the hook. But tonight, because we got bodies in there, we made the Swiss defence look very, very ordinary. The keeper looked very vulnerable. We continually put them under pressure. And if you do that long enough, the goals will come, and they certainly came tonight. Everyone's gone away thoroughly enjoying a great performance from England.
Yes, the smiles are back. We love you, England. I suppose there's a danger that everyone will now go right over the top in appreciating what we've witnessed, but it has been a very enjoyable England performance to behold. England 3, Switzerland 1. Let's join Nick Collins.
Well, Steve Stone, many congratulations. What were Terry and Venables' instructions to you when you went on?
Well, just to get at them, really, you know. It caused me a few problems down the right-hand side, and I think I did that in part, you know.
Now, you didn't start the game, but it was almost the next best thing, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I seen the lad get injured, and I thought he's rubbing this a bit, you know, I'm going on in a minute. And I was a bit worried he might put Peter Beardsley on, because, you know, my lack of experience. But he had faith in us and he put us on, and I really enjoyed it when I got on.
Was it a real help, the fact that you did get virtually a full game this time?
Well, I mean, last time wasn't bad. I mean, I enjoyed it last time, but to get nearly a full game, it's a great honour, really, and hopefully I might get some more now.
Could you really sense the confidence starting to come back into the side once that first goal went in?
Yeah, once the goal went in, I think we're outpassed them for most of the game, really, you know. There was a spell where they were on top to win the first half, and I thought, you know, might get away from them a little bit, but we dug in and we started doing with passing movements that we're good at, and we finished them off, really.
The icing on the cake from your point of view, obviously the goal coming near the end.
Yeah, well, I seen Shearer turn in. I thought I'd just run across the front of the goalkeeper and get in his way, and I've just managed to get out of the way of it and just stick it in, really. It wasn't that hard.
Good night for Forrest, wasn't it? With Stuart scoring as well?
It was, yeah. I was pleased he scored, you know, because he's Grimness has been in the team for the last year or so, and I'm pleased that he's got in now, you know, and done so well.
Well, listen, you've been voted the Green Flag Man of the Match. Big bottle of champagne for you. Well played, Steve. Well done.
Thoroughly deserved as well. Well done, Steve Stone. And England, a goal behind to Switzerland, but they came out winners by 3 goals to 1. We'll be back with Phil Thompson and Glenn Hoddle and check out the other scores in a moment. Switzerland 1, 16 attempts, 11 on target. And you, 9 from Switzerland, 3 on target. 90 minutes without a booking, that is unusual. And the action areas, dominated by England in the first half, and the second 45, much more evenly split. The possession, 54% for England, but only 57 minutes of play from the 91 that we had. Phil Thompson and Glenn Hoddle.
Well, Terry, congratulations. A big improvement in the performance from the Norway game. What was the main reason for that, do you think?
Well, we were at home. We had to, again, I'd say we'd take the initiative like we did against Colombia. Norway game was a different game. But I thought the boys played very well. I thought it was a tight game, two teams playing very well in the first half. In the second half, we improved it even more, and I thought the team played exceptionally well.
How did you feel Shearer and Sheringham combined during the game?
We did very well indeed. We've made a lot of chances tonight, and we won the game in the end quite convincingly. 3-1's a good score.
Did Paul Gascoigne justify his inclusion, do you feel?
I thought he did. I mean, we were just talking that in the second half I just liked him to sat there with Lee and controlled it more and just relied on the front four, getting forward and doing well. I mean, Steve Stone came on and his passing and his crossing was excellent. And I thought they played off each other, Teddy and Alan Shearer, exceptionally well.
Steve Stone started the season outside the squad. Is he going to give you a bit of a selection problem if he carries on like this?
Well, I had Steve in our get-together last year at Aston Villa, and I thought he's done well last year. His first full year as such, playing with form like that. And he's done it again this year, so it wasn't sort of a one-off. And I've been very impressed with him. And I think he's a very good player.
When Stuart Pearce's shot deflected into the net, how relieved were you?
Well, I thought they both were a bit fortunate at the goals, because the first one, I think it was credited to Canup. But I don't think he touched it at all, and the boy said he didn't. It just sort of, he was expecting a header, David, and he was sort of disappointed about losing a goal like that, but I don't think he could have done much else, because he was expecting a header and he was fairly close in. And they both missed it, and it just went into the back post, and we got a deflection, as you say. But I think both were a little fortunate. But we had our chances. They had a couple of chances first half, and we had, I think, perhaps a couple more than those. It was fairly tight. The second half was very good.
Could you sense the confidence really starting to return once that first goal had gone in?
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think it lifted the crowd as well. I mean, the crowd were good, I mean, but, you know, they're on edge, they're waiting for the first goal and hoping the goal will come. And then when it did, they all got behind the team, and you could feel it, another sort of spring in their stride, and they were full of confidence then and made some great openings.
All right, just need a goal from Alan Shearer now, don't we?
No, not necessarily. We want to win the game. We want to win the game 3-1. It doesn't matter who scored the goals.
All right, Terry, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Quite right. OK, 3-1. England a goal down in the first half. Canup will blame it, although Terry Campbell is saying that David Seaman feels nobody in the box got a touch. What do you think, Phil?
I think he's got a slight... Yeah, I think he's got a slight touch there. But the ball, it's the cross. He's whipped this in. It's causing all sorts. It's flat. It's got pace.
It's a great ball, Glenn.
Anybody problems. And the lad's done as you would like your strikers to do, go to the near post.
It just got across the front.
David shouldn't feel upset by that going in. It was the ball.
Anyway, wasn't it, Glenn?
Yeah, it was on target for sure, but it was a nicely worked corner. Short, you know, they looked a little bit loose on the edge of the box all evening from corners, but you've got to say the goalkeeper will be disappointed, or the manager will be disappointed with the goalkeeper there, even though there was a deflection. But we've worked it nicely to Pearce. He's got a strike on target, and a bit of fortune to get us back into the game, but one that we thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fortune that was deserved. Now, what about England's second? Scored by Teddy Sheringham. The cross from Steve Stone, but numerous passes. It started way back this, didn't it?
Yeah, it was great football, and then, you know, you've come in from the left, the fullback Neville's come in and joined in, and it's an early cross. He's just clipped it in there with pace, similar to their first goal, but that is a superb finish. He knows exactly where the keeper is. It's a super finish.
I think Travis made a good point, isn't he? You don't have to go past fullbacks sometimes. He's used them as a guide, the two players. He thinks, if I get this over, it's going to be in a good position, it's going to be away from the goalkeeper, but it's the pace again on the ball. Like Teddy's got up to that, and he is a good header of the ball, and he's just guided it into the far side.
Steve Stone got the goal that the crowd here tonight felt he should have. I think you believe, Glenn, also that he deserved this, don't you? Although he did look offside.
He was offside, there's no two ways about it, but he did deserve a goal. He played so well coming on as sub. But again, right, Shearer's done excellent there to get his shot in, but the actual ball that Sheringham played over the top to Shearer in the first place was absolutely exquisite. Look at that. I mean, I thought he might have even had a diving header at it, but he's worked it tremendously well to get the shot in, and
showed some neat skills there, hasn't he? You know, you think about Alan Shearer, all power, some great ability there. He's been unlucky not to score tonight.
I really love to be alone without all the ache and pain and the April showers It ain't long before I long for you, like a ray of hope coming through the blue. Doesn't really matter about the rain, 'cause we'll get through it anyway. We'll get up and start again, 'cause we could be lifted, lifted, lifted. We could be lifted from the shadow, lifted. Oh, we could be lifted up today, lifted all the way. You and I forever, baby, lifted, lifted, lifted.
Sky Sports with Ford Escort. Take